While I don't believe anymore, I'm still surrounded and inundated by the religious sentiment of my family. On my mother's side, they are the strong Protestants that shored up my faith when I had it. They are the people I clung to when I needed answers that the Bible or prayer just could not give. I love them. They're my family. I disagree with them on matters of faith, but they're still my family. So being in and around the church element in my life is something that is unavoidable if I want to see them. I can sit through dinner prayers and even church if need be. This is not something that's unsettling to me as it is to other atheists. Though inviting me to church functions and things might be their way of saying they still have hope that I'll come back to the faith. I know now that this won't happen. I know too much. So when it comes to my children, I have a stance that it is not a bad thing to talk to them about religion and let them make up their own minds. If I tell them what to think, I won't be able to make them truly free thinkers. My son has confessed to me that he does not believe there's a God, although I don't know if he's able to articulate why just yet. I admonished him to think about it and tell me how his thoughts progress. When I asked him why he still likes to attend church youth group, his reply was exactly what you would expect from a teenage free thinker. All my friends go there, and there's free food and a drum set I can play after the service. My daughter's 6, and while I've asked my ex-wife to talk to her about God, this is not a very high priority on her list of things to do. Last week I discovered that my daughter will be attending a week-long vacation Bible school because several of her cousins had attended, and it was a good way of keeping the kids out of my ex's hair for a few hours of the day. Once the week was over, the kids would perform sing-alongs and skits for their parents. My daughter just wanted to sing the same lame old songs I learned when I was a child. Our God is an awesome God and the like. I was torn. I had a double standard. On the one side, I would bring her around my multi-generational religious family and say this is okay. Then hate the fact that my ex-wife would so blithely put her in a church function without consulting me. I was pissed. I felt like my end of it was unavoidable. After all, that's my family. I can't keep her from them. But she explained that she would never stop me from talking to the kids about religion and thinking for themselves. I understood my ex's position, and she's not the type of ex that keeps me from the kids or takes me to court over petty things, or asks me for really much of anything except for child support. And that I be there for the kids whenever they needed me, and that I take them on my selected days. I do all of these things gratefully and happily. So it didn't take me by surprise that the end-of-the-week sing-along fell on my selected day. This meant that I would have to attend a church service in which my daughter may sing about Jesus. I was stricken. Can I watch her in her beautiful dress and flowered headband sing a song about a God I no longer believed in? It seemed I would have to. I shored myself up, hoping that I could talk to that little face afterward about what she had learned about the Bible and Jesus. I picked her up from my ex's, thinking of the things I would ask her, thinking of the things I would tell her, knowing that I would love her no matter what she said to me. We rode in the car silently to the church, me peering back at her in the rearview mirror every few seconds. Her platinum blonde hair had been perfectly straightened and cut for the occasion. She wore a white dress with a watermelon print on it. As I began to turn on some music in the car to distract myself from my task, just as I was about to throw on some good old "Go!" she piped up with her little voice and asked,
"Daddy, how come the earth doesn't fall into the sun? They said it's because of God."
I wanted to turn around. I wanted to go home. But she did ask me, and I couldn't ignore that she saw the information I had to give, and she knew it would be different than the information that they had given her. I love this child with all my heart. This was the best distraction I could have ever had. The earth doesn't fall into the sun because it's moving fast enough to oppose the gravitational pull of the sun. Kind of like when you keep hitting a tetherball around the top of a pole so it doesn't wrap around.
It just keeps going around and around?
Kind of like that. Yep. Although one day it won't, but I wasn't about to tell her that.
Okay.
With that, I decided that going to the function wasn't such a bad idea. She obviously trusted me over them. We pulled into the church parking lot and were met with decaffeinated smiles and Acme hellos that say, "I don't know you, but the good book says, blah." I held her little hand and walked up those stone steps of yet another Protestant church. We sat in a pew behind my nieces and nephews. My ex-sister and brother-in-law turned around and gave me that "I'm so okay with the fact that you're gay" smile, then returned their attention to the female pastor at the pulpit. After a heated speech about how academia is leading our children away from God and how it's all evolutionist thinking that's making our children violent, the preacher announced that the kindergarten class would sing. Luckily, my daughter hadn't been paying attention to the silly speech. Either way, once this was over, I was going to have a little chat with her about questioning authority. All the boys and girls began to take the stage, but my daughter sat silent. "Hon, it's your turn to go up."
I don't want to, Daddy.
"Why not?"
I just want to watch the other kids and sit with you.
We sat through another rendition of Our God is an Awesome God and then Jesus Loves Me. I leaned in close to my daughter's ear and asked, "Why don't you want to sing with the other kids?"
I just came to see all of my friends and eat the Snickerdoodles after.
Excited, I asked, "There's Snickerdoodles? Did I ever tell you of my affinity for baked goods?"
Yep, there's cookies and other stuff too.
"Yes," I said, "but I was thinking, I will eat the fuck out of those Snickerdoodles." With her little voice and cheery disposition, she had reassured me once again that she understood a lot. You don't have to buy into anything when you come here. You can have all the friends you like. Atheists, Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, Mormons. Children get this so easily. They don't have a criteria. Somewhere along the lines, I think adults lose this type of thinking. Free thinking. She showed me that I had done something right. We went into the rectory. It was permeated by the smell of shitty Folgers coffee, peanut butter, fruit punch, and of course, Snickerdoodles. She and I parted ways so as she could play with her friends, and I could assault the baked goods arranged in a white tablecloth covering a ping-pong table. I walked around the table with a paper plate, arranging each confection neatly until I had a pyramid of "Here Come the Diabetes." Then I got myself a styrofoam cup of shitty Folgers. I sat and ate contentedly in the corner, watching my daughter and her friends as they giggled and chased each other, winding between all the other parents who had decided to ignore the new guy. I sat quietly munching on my goods, observing the clamor of tired moms and dads, talking ad nauseum about how Obamacare isn't working, and how gay marriage will ruin the world. They were just as frail and judgmental as I was. Had I ostracized myself? Had the other parents ostracized me? Maybe, but my daughter was doing well, better than the rest of us. I thought, I'll just sit here and eat the fuck out of all these Snickerdoodles.